Hello, everyone. This is Danny, and you are watching Saturday Stitching, where every day can be like Saturday if your stitching is going well. I'm here with my daughter Maya, as usual. Say hello, Maya.
Hello. I'm on a different camera today.
She's such a goofy girl. Okay, if you couldn't tell from the title, I'm the fatigue is hitting me hard today. This was my last semester, and I finished my classes. So I finished my classes just a couple days ago, and I think the stress of it has finally just crashed down on me because I feel like I'm about to fall over. But I wanted to spend some time with my daughter and anybody else who wants to show up. So it looks like Tracy's here. Hey, Tracy. Tracy's here
Man,
in the
I'm
chat
so behind
room.
in the chat.
Tracy's here in the chat room. Well, I don't know when she showed up, but there she is. So, so I just thought we could this may be a little shorter than usual, although I say that every weekend. So why I say that, I don't know why, because I'm starting my timer. But really, I don't have a lot to show this week. So I'm going to show my stuff first. Maya's going to show her stuff, and then we'll get on that up out of here for other than stitching. Okay, so as I said, this was some end of the semester for me. So I had finals this week. And you would think since I skipped the weekend doing videos, meaning basically I had 2 weeks to get stuff done, you would think I'd have stuff to show you. But that's not the case because I was working on projects, plus I do have a job. So I got a little bit of stitching done, but it didn't amount to much. First off, I have the the sweater, the surfer t-shirt that I'm working on for my daughter, who is now home from college, by the way. So hopefully I'll move this up in the rotation so it can be done before she leaves at the end of the summer. But this, as you can see, this is my marker. So this is what I got done. So this means, as we've said every week, I need to get another inch, another inch, another inch. Well, now I got all my inches. So I am actually down to doing the seed stitch.
Oh, snap.
What I'm working now is the seed stitch that is going to be at the hem. And once I get that done, then I need to make the pocket. Then I need to pick up stitches to do the neck and pick up stitches to do the sleeves. And then I'm done. So I anticipate that y'all are going to see this in at least 3 more videos before I'm finished. Because it'll probably be one next video. I'll probably have the hem done. Video after that, I will probably have the neckline done. And then video after that, I'll have the sleeves done. And then maybe I can talk her out of the pocket. But I don't know. But that's the first thing that I really
Talk
didn't
her
get
out of
done.
the pocket.
Well, I know she wants the pocket, but maybe I can talk
Of
her out
course
of
she
it.
wants the pocket. She wears hoodies all the time.
I know. Well, this isn't going to be a hoodie because I'm not adding the lid to it. Hush.
Yes, but it's a hoodie pocket. The big middle pocket, that's a hoodie pocket.
Yeah, that's a hoodie pocket. But I'm not adding I'm not adding it. She wanted me to add a hood, but you know what? That's not part of the pattern, and I'm not trying to figure that out. I will find another pattern that already has a hood. I mean, I do have the wonderful Wallaby, that sweater I made for you in yellow many years
Hmm.
ago. But I don't think she wants that because that's a pullover and it's long sleeves. So we'll see. So the second thing that I really didn't get done this week was the AKA scarf. And
Oh,
the
Tracy asked, "What are you working on?" I don't know if she means what am I working on at the moment or what are you
Okay,
working on at the moment.
she's talking to you because I ain't doing nothing.
I'm just working
So
on another scrunchie. I finally sold some scrunchies. I'm so excited, which means I have space to make more scrunchies. So I'm really excited. I'm making smaller scrunchies because I did make a few smaller scrunchies and people like them. So I'm making some smaller scrunchies.
I told you there were people who would want the smaller scrunchies. Not everybody is wild and crazy like you
Or
and want.
adorable like those 3-year-olds that I put those scrunchies on. They were so cute. Oh, we can bring that. Did we bring that picture up that day? We did. We did.
We did. But not everybody wants to be outrageous and do the big scrunchies. So, anyway, the second thing that I really did not get done is the AKA scarf. And as you can see, it's a little bigger. The only thing that's different between the last time I showed it to you is that I've gotten to the point where I know you can't really see this, but this is the start of one of the letters, one of the
Okay.
A's. So I've
I see the
gotten
faint
that
hint
far.
of pink.
Yes. So I've gotten that far. And the girl that this is supposed to go to graduated yesterday from college.
Are they having a graduation party for her?
Um, I don't know. We got the announcement in the mail. We didn't
Mm-hmm.
hear anything about a party. Daddy didn't say he heard anything about a party, but he did say that he was intending to get her something. I still haven't told him that this scarf is intended for her,
Okay.
but he does know that she's AKA because he keeps up with the Divine Nine.
Yeah.
He's always wanted to be in a fraternity. So
Let's see.
yeah,
Tracy said,
he always wanted. Let me rephrase that. He always wanted one of y'all to be in one of the Divine Nine, but nobody, none of y'all wanted to pledge. So
I was in Sigma Alpha Yoda. I have sisters.
I know, but it's not one of the black sororities, the Divine Nine.
Anyway, Tracy said she was talking about the blue project that you shared, which is the
Oh,
sweater that you're making for Chloe.
I'll take it back out. I apologize, Tracy. I thought I'd already showed this so many times that y'all were tired of looking at it. This is a project on a web that I found on a website called Crafty Foxes, or I think I found it on Ravelry. I found it somewhere, but the actual website it's on is called Crafty Foxes. Yeah, I think it was part of a book, but they offered it for free in on the website as well. And it's called the it has like two different names, but I think it's called the Casual Surfer Tee. Um,
Oh man, now I'm seeing the whole thing. It looks really good.
Now that I'm looking at it, it looks like it's too short.
You think so? I don't know. Chloe does have the boobies. It might bring it up a little bit.
Cause see, I'm already working. I'm already working the hem here, and the hem is only supposed to be about an inch. So this is like right down at my waist here.
Well, sometimes hoodies have big, like, bottom hems. Maybe you can just do a bit extra of a hem, like 2 inches or an inch and a half.
Well, we'll see.
Would she be able to try it on like that?
That's the whole thing. You're supposed to be, since it's top down, you're supposed to be able to um, try it on as you go. But I haven't had a big enough. I don't have a long enough circular needle to put this on so she could try it.
Oh.
I guess I could put it on some string.
Yeah, that's what I was about to suggest. Would you be able to just run a needle through it with like a bright pink string or something? That way you can loop it back through. Oh, Tracy says it's pretty.
Thank you, Tracy. Thank you.
I
This
think it
is
looks good. Now that I'm seeing the whole thing instead of just the like little inches that you were doing.
I thought I had showed the whole thing on another video. That's why I don't keep holding it up because I feel like I've showed it so many
I
times.
think you did, but I think that was like 7 videos ago. So I probably forgot what it looked like.
And I started this 2 years ago, and it's been in the closet for like a year. But I'm hoping within the next 3 videos, I'll get this done. But the reason, and oh, this week the new square number 9 for the unraveled mitten scrap Afghan that I'm
Hmm.
working on came out, but I did not start it. I looked
Oh,
at it, I saw that it was like a, excuse me, it's like a one line repeat.
what?
um, Meaning, I don't know if you know what I mean by that, Maya, but a
I don't.
one line repeat basically means line, row one is, or one row repeat, I should say. The first row tells you to cast on however many for your chain,
Hmm.
and then the second row, you just repeat that second row over and over and over till you're done.
Oh,
So it's just one row. I didn't look closely at what the one row is, but it's not like double crochet all the way across back and forth to the end.
yeah.
It's like, double crochet, skip one, yarn over, blah, blah, blah. It's got a bunch of that in there. I just didn't look at it real close.
Hmm.
But I was planning to do, so I'll probably have that square. No use going on about that too much because I'll probably have that square done between now and next week.
Okay.
Because like I said, she puts the squares out every other week. So I want to have this square out done before she puts out number 10, because I've done really well so far keeping up with this crochet along. This is the first crochet along that I've ever done where I have not like given up in February. I've tried
All
crochet
right.
alongs. Really, I've tried crochet alongs where they only do one square a month. And I've managed to do the January square, the February square, and
And
so
then stop at February? That's ridiculous.
why? Why are you laughing at your mother?
Because it's only two squares.
Well, it's different.
River,
It's
stop.
different. Is it, you know how slowly I stitch, right? Quit
But
laughing
not
at
one
me.
square a month. Come on.
You know how slowly I stitch. Okay.
Let's see. Nightingale, before we get on to this, Nightingale's in the chat and she says, "Hello, Danny. Happy Mother's Day."
Happy Mother's Day to you too, Nightingale.
For a second, I was like, "How did she know you were a mother?" And then I was like, "Oh, wait, duh."
You doofus. And you're laughing at me. But to be fair, the reason you see how slowly I stitch. Most of the crochet alongs I've tried before have been granny squares, and
Hmm.
they've been multiple color granny squares. Like I joined another crochet along. I know I'm getting distracted here, but I really want to show you this.
Hmm.
Okay, where is it? I joined two crochet alongs actually at the beginning of the year. And I say joined loosely because really what I did was I made up in my head that I was going to be in the crochet along, but I didn't like, a lot of these crochet alongs have like groups that you can join on Facebook, and you post your squares up in the group and stuff like that. And I decided not to do that because I figured, okay, by February I was going to quit anyway. So,
Wouldn't
because that's what always happens. So I didn't
if
officially
people
join.
if people join a crochet along on like a Facebook group or something, but they're all crocheting along to the same pattern, wouldn't it be really boring if like, oh, here's this week's pattern and then just a bunch of pictures of the same thing, and then oh,
No,
here's this
because
week's
that
pattern,
means
and then
everybody picks different colors. Everybody picks
okay,
different.
yeah, I guess okay. I was just
Like,
like, what?
okay, okay, I'm about to flip the screen.
Okay.
Okay, to show you the other crochet along that I had joined. Okay, see this crochet along, you started like right here, and then by week 2 you were out here, and then by week 3 you were out here. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, you were breaking up a little bit, but I jumped back in, and I think I got you.
So, okay, I accidentally clicked and confused my computer. Stop it. But I'm trying to get out of this. Stop it. But like, see, this is the same pattern, different colors.
Okay.
Same
Okay.
pattern, different colors. So it's interesting to look at them because everybody does different colors.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to look, at least for me anyway. It's interesting to look and see all the different colors they put together. But see, with something like this, I didn't even start this one because it was both of these crochet alongs are what they call mystery crochet alongs, where
Hmm.
they don't tell you what the pattern is going to be.
Like they don't tell you what you're making at all. Like you don't know that you're making a
No, you
blanket.
know you know it's a blanket,
Okay.
and a lot of times they'll tell you if it's going to be squares, but they don't tell you what stitch you're going to do. So you get the stitches and the instructions for the stitches every few weeks as you go along to make it more interesting for you to stick with it.
See, I want to see somebody do a mystery crochet along where they don't tell you what you're doing. They're just like, you need this yarn, this size yarn, you need this size, like needles or hooks or whatever, and then you just start making like random bits of stuff, and then you gotta like sew them together. So I want to see like mystery projects.
Yeah, I mean there are I've seen crochet alongs where people where they do stuff like that too.
Like
But
you start something, you're like, where is this going? And then bam, you got a sweater.
but see the thing with things like this, like here's a crochet close up of the beginning of one of these. The
Mm-hmm.
problem with things like this is that first of all, I have trouble picking colors.
Mm-hmm.
So I get all hung up on okay, what colors are going to go together. Like with the scrap one that I'm doing now, I started catching myself getting hung up on colors, and I said, you know what? I'm not going to do that. I'm going to just grab some colors out of the bag, and if they match, fine. I'm not trying to make every square in the blanket coordinate. I'm trying to use up all this yarn, and part of the reason all this yarn is still here is because none of it matches enough for me to turn into a hat or anything.
Hello.
You still there?
Yeah, it was breaking up a little bit. I can see my Google Hangouts keeps going like working, not responding, working, not. I think we're good.
Okay. So,
Do you have your chat open? Because if I do cut out, I'll send something in the YouTube
okay, yeah, my
chat.
chat's open. But
Okay, by the way, let's see. Nightingale says, LOL, miss y'all. We missed you too. It's been a while, and that was my fault. And then she says, it's like the mandala madness. It's the same pattern, but when people do different colors, it's amazing how people's personalities
exactly,
shine.
Nightingale. Exactly. Maya's not that big a crocheter, so she's not familiar with the whole community thing.
Yeah.
But but I get hung up on picking colors and stuff like that. And I've also found, even though I like the idea of granny squares, I figured out in doing the unraveled mitten crochet along, I was trying to figure out why is it so easy for me to get these squares done and keep up with this and not the granny square one. And it's because these squares are squares that just go straight across like a blanket, like
Mm-hmm.
a miniature version of a blanket or a washcloth or something like that. Whereas granny squares, I've got to remember, I have to constantly consult the pattern to know the stitch. Whereas a
Yeah.
lot of these squares, I kind of remember most of the stitch
Yeah.
and I just have to do it back and forth. But with a granny, I have to consult the pattern to remember the stitch, and then I have to change colors. And
Mm-hmm.
a lot of these, they give you a lot of these crochet alongs, they give you the freedom to decide when you want to change colors, how many colors you want to use in your square,
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like that. And all that does is give me what gamers call analysis paralysis.
Yes.
I freeze up.
Yep.
I go like I don't know how many colors I should add in here. Should I change colors after the third row? Should I change colors in the fifth row? You know,
Man,
with the waffle blanket. And that's I mean, there's no stakes there. And I'm like, okay, how many rows of purple should I put in this blanket?
I have literally the exact same problem, but with coloring books. Everybody's like, coloring's so relaxing, man. But when I get a coloring book, I'm like, this is my one coloring book. This is like, because I usually get it as a gift from someone, and so I'm like, this is the one time I'm gonna have this coloring book. This is the only page that I have that looks like this. I don't want to mess it up. And so I pick a page that like is like the quote unquote ugliest page out of the book, and I start with that one. So I'm like, let me ease into it. And even then, I'm just like, no, I can't do it. I don't know colors. What? I'm colorblind. What's going on?
I know. With the coloring thing, everybody started talking because I started seeing things about teaching you how to do the shading
Hmm.
in coloring books and stuff like that. And it's like, I picked up a coloring book because I'm not an artist.
I just won't doodle.
I just want to fill in the colors. If I was an artist, I'd get a blank piece of paper. I could, so trying to think about picking colors and doing
Yeah.
shading and stuff, you are giving me too many choices. That's why when I bought coloring books, I got the color by number coloring books.
Hmm.
And even with those, like they say, like the one I have, it'll say, okay, light green, dark green. Okay, I got a box of colored pencils. I've got like 6 green pencils.
Which show me
So
which two of these go together.
which light green should I pick and which dark green should I pick?
Still too
Which
many
two of these
options.
greens go together? If I only had one light green pencil and one dark green pencil, then I'd be fine. I'd just take the light green and dark green and be done with it. But
Hmm.
trying to make a decision is too much. Nightingale Crochet said that she has a bag of granny squares that she hasn't done anything with them yet. I have some miniature granny squares that are like this big that came from somebody's closet. Um, I get given Nightingale. I know I've said this before, but I get given to me when the old ladies retire and decide that their hands are too gnarled to crochet anymore. I end up with people's yarn and half done projects. And that's the majority of what's in my stash. It's yarn that I did not buy for myself. I
Hmm.
did not pick these colors. And a lot of it is I have stuff that ranges from balls that are only this big to skeins of yarn that look like they've only had maybe 10 yards taken off of them. So they're almost a full skein, but I'm not sure because there's no wrapper on it.
Hmm.
So I end up with a lot of stuff, and I have a bag of granny squares, and I don't know if there'd be enough of those granny squares to make a blanket. Maybe a lap afghan, and I probably just need to put them together. But judging by the age of the rest of the yarn that came with that afghan, that yarn is from like somebody made those squares back in the 70s sometime, and they might be the first time I put them in the washing machine. So, but my last thing, because I'm sitting here rambling, my last thing that I wanted to show was this is the reason because I told you I was Nightingale says that her mom gives her thread and yarn that she doesn't use anymore. That's where my huge box came from. Um, what I call the box that keeps on giving. My mother stopped um, crocheting recently, and she's in her 70s, and she stopped crocheting recently, and she decided to give me her box because nobody else in our family really crochets or knits or anything. So she gave me all of her leftover yarn. So that's a good bit of the yarn that I'm using for the scrap afghan. But my last thing that I did work on, part of the reason why I didn't get any of my other whips done was that I actually started a new project, which is crazy. I see you. I see you. Yes, I know. Yes. Yes. Don't be giving me that look.
You're all. I've got these big five projects and these little projects, and I go to do the things.
What had happened was um I wanted to try it a few months ago, and I'm pretty sure I showed it on this podcast. Oh, mm.
Hang on, what? You glitched out and I have no idea what you just said. What just happened?
I almost said the word that we don't say, the P word, on this
Oh,
video.
man, we need to just start pulling the audio from these videos and putting it on Spotify. I'm telling you.
Whatever. But I tried out that loops yarn, you know, and I'm pretty sure I showed it on one of these videos, probably one of the videos before Maya started joining me. The loops yarn, where it has the pre-made loops. It's the new hotness right now for everybody to make stuff, you know. And
Yeah, that's one of the ones that I was chatting in before I joined in the actual video.
yeah. And I had made a scarf. I had posted it on Instagram, and um, someone on Instagram had said that she liked it. She's a coworker of my husband. She had said
Mm-hmm.
that she liked it. And so I was going to give it to my husband to just take it to her at work as a surprise and just say, here, you can have it. Because
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't crazy about it. I didn't like the way it turned out, blah, blah, blah. So I asked him, do you see this woman, you know, often when you're at work? And he said, oh, I hardly ever see her. So I was like, okay, well, if he never sees her, I'm not going to ask him to go out of his way to see her.
Mm-hmm.
So they both work at the airport, by the way. So I gave the scarf to my best friend because she wears scarves all the time during the winter. She loves scarves. So, which is kind of weird down here because a lot of people down here don't really wear scarves. But so I gave it to her. And then shortly after I gave it to her, I on one of my other Instagram posts, that same coworker of my husband made a little joke about, I wish somebody would make me a scarf. And then so I kind of joked back to her and I was like, well, I you were going to get a scarf, but you can blame it on my husband because he said he never sees you at work.
Mm-hmm.
So there was no way for you to get a scarf. So we just had a little jokey back and forth about that, and how she was going to beat him up for losing her scarf that she could have got or whatever. And so since that, I thought, well,
With a
I'm going to
black eye because you didn't give him that scarf to give to her.
what? What'd you say?
I said next her.
So so I decided. Looks like you're frozen there, girlie. So I decided I'm going to go ahead and make her another scarf. So I've had this in the back of my head that I'm going to make her a scarf. Again, a surprise. So if I don't get it done anytime soon, she's not sitting there waiting for it. Well, I then when exam time came and I started stressing about work and exams, and I had like the way my semester went, I had final projects and then exams right after that. So I had like big projects and then exams right after that. And I was working. So I felt like oh, and so I would sit down and it's like I can't focus on any of these other projects that I have. I
Mm-hmm.
just can't focus on them. And at the same time, in the back of my mind, I keep thinking, I need to make that scarf for this woman because that's weighing on me too. Even though she's
Mm-hmm.
not expecting it, she's not promised it or anything. I just, in the back of my head, I feel
You
like I
feel
should
like you
make
need
that
to.
scarf. I feel like I should
Mm-hmm.
make that scarf. And so I just, one day I just sat down and started a scarf. So here it is. There's
Ooh, I
there's
like the color
ends,
though.
there's ends hanging out all over the place. This is one whole ball of yarn. Okay.
Is that just a regular scarf or is that a loopy scarf?
You mean one of those that are joined, both ends joined together? You know I hate
No,
those.
no, no, no. No, with the loopy yarn. I mean,
Oh no, 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 no.
okay.
I'm not ever using that yarn again. No. I did not like that yarn. I did not like that I couldn't control my tension. So some of my stitches felt loose and some
Mm-hmm.
of my stitches felt too tight. I did not like that with the pre-made loops. You can
Okay.
get that kind of yarn with that fuzziness with in a yarn. There's a yarn called basically because that loopy yarn is
Mm-hmm.
basically Bernat blanket yarn, but they've taken it
And
and
looped
sewn
it
it
up.
together into loops.
Okay.
So I'd rather buy the Bernat blanket if I'm going to use that kind of yarn again, where I can control my tension better.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tracy. This is, I found the pattern on Ravelry, but realistically, it, this is a common stitch that everybody
Hello?
knows. So I hesitate to, yes,
Oh, sorry. I'm just having all kinds of breakup issues. I don't know what's going on. I think it's just
yeah,
on my
you
end
are.
because I'll hear you
You're freezing. That's what's happening.
have a conversation a little bit and it'll freeze. I'm trying to see if I need to close anything else, but I don't know.
Well, that's happened to you before when you do it on the phone too. I think it might just be
My
your
internet.
yeah. But if you knit it all,
Okay.
yeah, Nightingale. If you're talking about either Bernat blanket or the loops yarn, both of them are expensive. Both of them are. Well, they're pricey to me because I'm used to using 95% of what I make is Red Heart Super Saver. So anything that's not like $2.75 a skein feels like I'm, treating myself. So that was a big deal to me. But this is if you knit it all, this is called the feather and fan stitch. So I mean, I really didn't need to look up a pattern for this. But since I don't trust myself to know all the right numbers and stuff, I I did use a pattern to tell me how wide to make it for this chunky yarn. Get a little bit of a close up here. This is the yarn. You can see it here in the ball. The yarn is called, which before I knit a little bit of it, I couldn't really see this stripe on it. So when I bought it in the store, I only bought two skeins of it because this is not really my color. I don't really like burnt oranges and browns and stuff like that. So this isn't really my color. But then after I had started to use this yarn to make a dog sweater, but it turned out that the dog sweater was not the right size for the dog in mind.
Oh.
So, but then after I was like halfway through the dog sweater and realized it wasn't going to work for the dog I had in mind. But then as I was looking at the yarn, I was like, this yarn is really pretty. I'm not sure that I want to put this on a dog. And so I got different yarn for the dog. And you guys saw that dog sweater already. That was the one that I crocheted recently. But this is Lion Brand Tweed Stripes, and it's a
Okay.
discontinued yarn. And it's kind of stripy, as you can see, but it's not real obvious stripes.
Mm-hmm.
As you
Those are
can see,
very subtle stripes. Like
yeah,
I
they're
almost
very
couldn't see
subtle
the
stripes.
orange and the yellow, like the difference between the orange and the yellow for a second there.
Exactly. They're very subtle stripes. It's like three colors, I think, possibly four in here. But they're very subtle stripes. But I like the way, if I had known that this was going to knit up this pretty, I would have um I would have bought more of the yarn because it was on closeout at Ollie's for
Mm-hmm.
$2 a ball. And this was like a when it was in the store, this was like a $7 yarn.
Ooh.
So that was a good deal for it. I
Yeah.
but this was the only color they had it in. And so I only bought two balls of it because I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do with this color. This is
Mm-hmm.
not my color. But I wish now I had bought more of it. But I bought this 2 years ago, so I'm sure it's long gone. But yep, this is what I've been working on during the whole time that I was stressed. I knit through during my exams. The whole time I was stressed, I knit through. This is one entire ball.
Oh man, so you were getting it.
Yep, this is one entire ball.
So
And
you're
so
just are you gonna make the
I'm
stress
I'm
two
gonna
balls worth?
yep, I'm gonna finish this ball. This is because I just started this ball last night. So I've
Hmm.
only done like 4 rows off of this ball, which means this scarf is going to be it's going to be a good length because as you can see, it's already,
Oh yeah, that's pretty good.
so by the time I get the rest of this ball, it's going to be enough to really wrap and be a nice size.
Hmm.
So I made a mistake at the bottom, but it's not real easy to see what I did. I don't even know if you'll be able to see it, but
I don't think I see anything.
right about here, I accidentally did the same row twice, which means that all of this is wrong side now, and all of this is right side.
Hmm.
So, and by the time I figured out I'd done it, I was all the way up to about here.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what I'm gonna do? I counted how many rows it was
Hmm.
down here. It's like 24 rows. So I'll wait till I get to the end and then just
Do
make
24 rows and do it again.
make the same mistake on purpose and do the last 24 rows that way on the other end
Smart.
rather than have to restart it.
All
Because
right.
it's not real obvious, but
If you see me looking all funny, I'm trying to close processes on the computer still because it is just doing all kinds of acting up.
yes, Maya's having technical difficulties today. She tried to use a different setup for our chat today because her phone does not does not keep a charge even when it's plugged in. So doing the video on her phone like she usually does has not really been working. So she's trying to use an old laptop that she has, but so far it's iffy.
It seems like it's doing a
So okay, and then you go
little better
free.
now that I've keep going.
Okay, so and Nightingale and Tracy both agree with me that the price of yarn has been going up. Yeah, as I've said many times before here, I'm here repping for the basic girls, the girls who shop at Walmart and Michaels and Hobby Lobby and AC Moore and Joann's to get their yarns. If you see me doing a hand spun, hand dyed Angora something or other, then somebody gave that yarn to me as a gift because Danny's not going out and buying that because I can't justify spending that much money. I'm not saying that those people don't deserve to make that much money, but I can't justify spending that much money on yarn. I want to harken back to the days where people knit things for their families because that are useful, and when knitting and crocheting wasn't necessarily a rich lady of leisure's hobby, that you were knitting blankets for your family and scarves to keep warm and hats and socks and things like that. You hardly, I mean, and that's not to say that I don't try to put something fancy into my designs or, into the patterns that I use, like with the scarf. If I'm going to make a scarf, why not use a pretty stitch so it can be warm and pretty?
Hmm.
but I hardly ever make things like amigurumi or things that are meant to just look pretty.
Meanwhile, your girl over here,
Yeah, now my daughter is different,
that's all
but
I make.
you know, I just can't. I can't. I
Scrunchies
can't.
are probably the most functional thing I make.
I'm too sleepy to go to get on that rant right now. But basically, you know, you'll see most of my knitting and crocheting. You'll see will be on the practical end.
Mm.
You know, although to be fair, I am thinking about branching out into doing a little bit of stitching for of like a little bit of cross stitching or whatever
Ooh,
to put some pictures up on these walls because I don't know if you can tell, you can't see back here, but these are empty walls. All of
my
my
f-
walls, all of my walls look like this. There's no
my
pictures on them.
my absolute favorite cross stitches, or when people do cross stitching, which is like swear words and just bad things. They're my favorite because it's just so
Like
pretty
I
and
have I
flowery, and
have
I'm
a
like,
whole I have a whole pile of swear word patterns, cross stitch patterns. But enough about me. That's all that I got done. And see, I sat here and took 40 minutes just rambling. So it is your turn, daughter o' mine.
all right, I'm
What
gonna
you got
put some
going?
more frankincense on my incense and get started because it is
Frankincense.
burned out. Yeah, frankincense. That's what I'm burning. It's I didn't realize what frankincense looks like, but it's like
Which wise men do you think you are?
I don't know. I was trying to come up with a funny comment, but I got nothing. But
Whatever.
frankincense. It's so cool. It's just a little.
Uh-huh.
This is frankincense resin anyway. But so the reason last week, actually, let's back up one more week. The reason the week before that I was not on the live stream is because I went to see Avengers Endgame. It was so good. So that was my fault. My boyfriend took me to see Avengers Endgame. I did an Avengers henna. If I can like tilt the camera, well, bam!
Very
I
nice.
have Avengers henna. All right.
Your splotches there look very good.
Did they? Okay. Yeah, I was trying to figure out, and Wayne asked me why I decided to do the like splatter pattern based on like the movie that we saw and everything, and I'm like, you know what? It's really just design aesthetic purposes because I was trying to figure out the best way to make it stand out boldly instead of like thin lines. And so the best way I could do that was to put just a big bold, but I didn't want to put just a big bold border around it. So I did like paint splotches, which I'd seen a few other hen artists do, and I really like it. So, but
Good.
went to see Avengers Endgame. Super awesome. If you're a fan of Marvel things, go see it. The last Saturday, the reason I was not here and you didn't do a stream last Saturday, did you?
No, I did not because I was doing projects for the end of the semester.
So last Saturday, we were both busy. You were doing projects, and I was at a festival. I went to Fantasy Fest, which Fantasy Fest on the farm, which was about 45 minutes away from where I live. And it's this farm called Hickory Nut Gap. And they have this big old barn area that's like a covered barn. And it's got like a dance floor in the middle and a stage and like all this different stuff. It was super fun. So we set up. What am I hearing in the background over there? Are you bringing up pictures? Because I did send you pictures. Pictures. Okay, so that is the setup. That's basically the setup that I had. So last Saturday, I not only went to Fantasy Fest, but that morning I went to the farmers market. So that is actually my setup from the farmers market, and my setup at Fantasy Fest was really similar because it was just really dark at Fantasy Fest. Like it was bright enough for us to be able to see, but not very good for pictures. Ooh, and that's Justice. We can talk about him later though. But the um the setup at Fantasy Fest, it was bright enough for everybody to see, but it was more like an ambiance kind of thing. So it was not the best for taking pictures unless you had flash, and everybody knows pictures with flash or like bleh. But Oh, let's see. In the chat, let's see. Tracy Davis says the most I've paid for yarn is $20. I'm not going to buy expensive yarn because I make a lot for charity. I like Hobby Lobby, Michaels, Joann, and Walmart. Man, I normally get yarn at Walmart, and I just went to Joann, and like I always every time I go to Joann, I avoid the yarn section because I usually just go for craft stuff, and I don't want to be like gazing for hours. And I went, and I was going for one yarn. I was going for one pink yarn because I had this little girl that wanted some pink in her scrunchie, and I was just like, I don't know which one to choose. I don't know which one to choose. I don't know. There were so many more options than my tiny aisle at Walmart. Anyway, so let's see. So I went to Fantasy Fest. They let me set up my jewelry, they let me set up everything. I did really well actually. So that morning I went to the farmers market and made $40, which is great because there was a piano competition going on campus, and the kids at the piano competition, some of them remembered me from last year when they did the piano competition, and so they came up hoping the farmers market would be going on again, and they stopped by and they got henna, and I was like, oh my god, and they went and got
Oh,
stuff from some of the other people too. So it was so exciting. So I made $40 that morning. And then I went down to Fantasy Fest. I packed up everything. I left the farmers market a little bit early. I packed up everything and then went down to Fantasy Fest, and it was a little slow going at the beginning because there were several vendors there, and a lot of them, like some of them were selling some of the same jewelry I was, some of them were selling the same like similar jewelry that I was, and some of them were selling like really, really big stuff. And so my biggest draw was my henna. And all I ever need is one person to sit and get henna. And I'm thinking about just inviting an assistant to come and just like be a plant every time I have to do something and just show up and like, oh my, you are doing henna. Let me come see the henna things that you are doing and
no,
come
that's
get a
not cool.
well, it takes a while because people will go by and they'll see like, oh, henna, blah blah blah, and they kind of halfway think about it. But when people see someone sitting in my chair actually getting a tattoo, that's when everybody starts coming over because they see what I can do. And I had examples sitting out on the table, but they still like it didn't start until one person sat in my chair and is like, oh, I wanted to get a henna. And then bam, after that, I was like, I wanted to go see the puppet show, couldn't see the puppet show. I wanted to see the fire spinners. I almost missed the fire spinners. I didn't get a chance to get up and get my own food. I barely had a minute to go use the bathroom. Like, and then everybody was in my chair the whole time. So at Fantasy Fest, I paid $35 to be there because I got to pay the early fee. I paid $35 to be there, and I made like $85.
Cool.
Yeah, I did so well. And I need to email her again. It's in my to-do list, but I just keep forgetting to be an actual productive adult. But I need to email her and let her know, I'm planning to send the coordinator an email saying like, "Hey, this is super fun. If you're ever thinking of doing this again, I would love to come back because it was super awesome." But so I did that. But actually on the line of that, I did some really good networking while I was there. And oh, by the way, you're flipping through all these pictures, but the only thing on the screen is me. Was this on purpose, or are you just like, because we have
No,
not?
I thought I was sharing the pictures.
No, yeah, the only thing I'm looking at my phone, the only thing I see is me. Oh, let's see. Nightingale says Renaissance Fest is going on here in Tennessee. It's every weekend in May. Oh, snap. Do you know if they already have a henna artist over there? Because like Tennessee is not too far away from me. I could drive. I could do a little bit of a drive.
Okay, is it up on screen now?
I have to wait for my computer or I have to wait for my phone to catch up, so I'll see. Oh, and Tracy says she likes my nails. Thank you very much. I really need to get them redone, real bad, because the color is nice, but they're grown way out. You can barely tell there, but they are grown way out because I have not had the money to pay to get my nails redone because I've been setting up for Fantasy Fest. Let's see. I'm still waiting to see if the pictures. See, I'm still not seeing them on the screen. I just see me on the thing. I'm not sure what you're doing as far as your screen sharing thing. But oh, and Nightingale says she hasn't been in years. Well, maybe I'll show up and we can go together. But let's see. Oh, I was doing at what is my name? My name is Maya. And my business name is Maya Mendy. And that's the business name that I put on everything, and you'll see it. But so I did some really good networking at Fantasy Fest, and there was a guy who was there, and he was like, we had a cool chat about his costume and everything, and I went in costume as well. And my boyfriend Wayne was my assistant that day. He wore kilt and a drinking horn, which is super cool. But so we were talking, and he's like, yeah, I organize events similar to this as well, and it's super fun to like actually go in one instead of like organizing it. And I was like, oh, you organize events like this? Well, if you guys ever need a henna artist, like definitely take one of my cards. I'm open. And he's like, well, we normally have a henna artist, but I'll definitely take one of your cards just in case. I'm like, yeah, if anybody ever cancels, let me know, and I might be able to do it. And so literally 2 days ago, he messaged me on my business page and was like, hey, our henna artist for next Friday canceled. Do you think you'll be able to do it? And I'm like, yes, of course. I'm so excited. So I have another festival lined up for next Friday.
Cool beans.
Yeah, I was planning on only doing a festival every like once a month, but I'm definitely gonna like squeeze in there since the opportunity showed up, because I don't have to pay. Well, I do have to pay a fee, but they said that it's supposed to be a fairly busy event, and they said that for newcomers, if they don't make at least $100, they don't have to pay the $20 fee. It's waived, which is really
cool.
good. Yeah.
Cool.
And I'm still not seeing these pictures up on my phone. I'm not sure what you did it before, and I saw it before on the phone. I don't know what's different now than, is it because it's on Facebook?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, Nightingale says, awesome. I hope you take more pics. I will try to remember to take more pictures this time. I'm really bad at remembering to take pictures, like, especially if I'm doing henna and stuff. I'll do the henna and I'm like, oh, do you like it? And they're like, yeah, I like it. I'm like, awesome. Well, this is how you take care of it. Bye. And then I'm like, wait, I need pictures. I need documentation. So I've gotten into the habit of trying to tell people like, hey, do you mind if I take a picture of this after we're done? And they'll say, yeah. That way, like once we get done, I'll try to remember, but a lot of times they'll remember, oh, wait, did you want to get your picture? And I'm like, yes, I do need to get a picture. Thank you. So, and this next event is supposed to be a fantasy event too, which is super exciting. But let's see. So at the fantasy event, I remember last time we were here, I was making a bunch of charm jewelry, and I made so many of those. I think I made like 15 necklaces.
Oh, what happened? Hello?
Oh, wait, you accidentally muted me, but I think I just unmuted myself. Are we good?
Yes.
Okay, awesome.
I was trying to get your pictures to show. It says Google Hangouts is sharing my screen.
Okay, yeah, it's sharing now. I see it now on the thing. So what they are seeing now is that baby blanket that I was making. That's the really bad picture that I took in the car right before I pulled out of my driveway, because that is how late it took me to finish that.
So was it difficult?
No, it wasn't super hard at all. It just took longer because I'm not the fastest crocheter, because that's just not what
I'm not the fastest crocheter either.
Yeah. So I was thinking, I looked at the pattern and I started it. I'm like, oh, this is going to be super fine. And then like 3 hours later, I'm still working on the head, because the section that I did she made it so it's really easy man, there's a horrible glare on my glasses, but she made it so that it was really easy to modify it if you have a larger blanket, smaller blanket. And so I made it larger because this was her first birthday, and I wanted her to be able to use it for at least a little while. So I made it a good bit larger than what she showed in the picture of the pattern that I did, which was from a site that I will not remember, but you sent to me. I will go scrolling, but I made it a good bit bigger. So I started the pattern and I'm like, oh, this is gonna be super easy. And so I was crocheting. I'm like, this is easy, but it's not going very fast. So I stayed up super late for a couple nights working on stuff. And then that day, I think I have to work that. I think I had to work that day. And then I got home and was like busting out the last few pieces I needed to do. Or no, I made everything. And then I just needed to sew the pieces on, which also turned out to be a bit harder than I thought, because it has the purple border on it. I'm not sure if you can tell from the picture, but it has a purple border on it. So I was able to just sew it into the border, but I'm sorry, I'm still scrolling to try to find the website that it was from, because I didn't actually save it into my phone. But so I could sew it into the purple border, but because they are 3D pieces, it was a little hard to like figure out, I didn't want to sew it on top of something. I didn't want to sew it under something. So it was a little weird, but I figured it out. And that's that crappy picture. And then I think if you scroll down a few more pictures, there's the picture that I got from her mother.
Did you stuff the head?
I did stuff the head. I actually stuffed the head with leftover pieces of the fleece, because that fleece was, I basically just cut it in half. That way, if I messed up on one of them, I could just do it again on the other half. And so it turns out I got it on the first try. And so I cut up shreds of the rest of the fleece and used that to stuff the head. And I think I stuffed the horns as well. I can't remember if I stuffed the arms and legs or not. Okay, the pattern is from Repeat Crafter Me. There we go. Took a bit of scrolling.
Crocheters know Repeat Crafter Me. She's a big deal. She has lots of really cool patterns.
Mm-hmm. I haven't gone to look at any more of her patterns, but I think I might go to do that, because that one was super easy, super fun.
She's got a pattern for a emoji blanket that is on my someday list.
Oh yeah. And there's the picture. Oh, Cami is so adorable. I just want to pinch her cheeks to death. But that's her with the blanket, and you can see that I made it a good deal larger than her.
Head much better, yeah. Mm-hmm. You did a good job on that.
Thank you. I wasn't sure about the horns, because they didn't really end up as pointy as they did in the picture, and they didn't, like, I wanted them to be a bit pointier, but I feel like it turned out okay. Like,
I think they look adorable just the way they are. I think they look adorable just the way they are.
But that is that blanket that I made. Let's see. Nightingale is saying yep. I'm not sure what she was saying yep to, but I'm glad she's agreeing. So that is the blanket that I made. Oh, she said, looks great. Thank you. Thank you so much. Let's see. I'm going back through the pictures that I sent you to see what else I need to talk about. Let's see. That's the blanket that I made. That video from Justice that I sent you, that's from his album release party, which we can talk about in other than crafting. Let's see. So there's a picture of me with the tentacle earrings. Do you think you could bring that one up?
Well, I think I already showed that one, but I shall try it.
Well, I can't remember if it actually showed in the stream or not. I see you doing scrolling. Oh, you can scroll back down. I sent it to you again. It was in that big group of pictures there. It's towards the bottom. Yeah. So that is a faux gauge tentacle earring that I made out of polymer clay. I had them out to sell at Fantasy Fest, but no one snatched them up. So I'm gonna take them again, because in June I said that I was Tracy says the blanket and the baby are cute. Adorable. She's just adorable. I just want to eat her up. But so like I said, I'm trying to set up to have one festival every month. And so next month I've got the Mermaid Festival in the next town over. There's going to be the festival, and then there's going to be a parade as well, if I'm not mistaken. And so I think the tentacle earrings should go at the Mermaid Festival. Hopefully someone will snatch them up. I'm selling them. They took a long time though. I have some progress photos that I will put up on Instagram later on. So I think both of you are following me on Instagram. So if you follow me, you'll start seeing those pictures later. Once it got to about 3 days before the Fantasy Fest, I was like, nope, I don't have time for any of this. I got to finish getting ready. I had an emotional breakdown thinking I wasn't ready. So I was like, nope, Instagram, I'll pick you back up out on the other side.
On the flip side.
Yep. After the fest. So I made those earrings, but they took so long. They were really fun to make, and they were easy to make. They were not that hard to make. It's just they took so long to make because I had to make the so it looks there in that picture that my ears are gauged. My ears are not gauged. You can see.
Yeah, I freaked out when I saw that. When I saw that picture, I was like, oh my God, please tell me she did not gauge her ears.
Well, first of all, I wouldn't be able to gauge both ears because I only have one pierced, as we've discussed on here before. I only have one, so I would have one big ear and one not big ear, and that's just not cute for me, at least. So I made faux gauges so I could have the gauge look because I am all about being extra. So if you were to take those earrings apart where they're connected to my ear, there is a small post as if it's just a regular stud earring. And in the other half of the tentacle, I put a back in there and embedded the back into the clay. So once you stick them together, they look like one piece. And it looks like it's going through your ear
And where on earth
like that, but they're really earring.
Where on earth did you get this idea?
I saw well, I've seen faux gauges before. I never really bought them because I didn't like the style that they were made in.
Okay.
Because they just look, so I'd seen them before, and then I saw, because I watch a lot of craft videos on YouTube anyway, and so I came across, as I was watching just like a playlist of videos, one of my crafters made some of those, and I was like, oh, those are actually really easy to make. It's not as hard as I thought they would be. So so I made some myself. The hardest part, honestly, was just finding the stud in post, because like I thought that because Walmart sells all kinds of, like, they have a whole jewelry section now for like making jewelry and everything. I thought I'd be able to find them there. No, you can only find the French hook for the earring dangle ones. You can't find like stud posts. And so I had to make a trip all the way out to Joann's, which if you know me, like if you've heard me talk about driving out to Asheville gives me panic attacks because I'm always afraid that I'm going to just get lost forever and die. So I hate it. It's so busy. It's like, it feels like someone took a map of Asheville, took a bowl of spaghetti, dropped it there, and is like, okay, this is where our streets are gonna go. Like, anyway, so I have to have somebody ride with me. And so I had to wait for a day when Wayne and I were both off, had the energy, and it was during a time when Joann's would be open. So we and we had money. So we made, because I needed, the biggest reason I was driving out to Joann's that day was to get, if you saw the baby blanket, the pink horns, I needed to go out and get that pink yarn, because that pink yarn is for another little girl who wants a scrunchie. Plus I needed a contrasting yarn for the horns. So I went out and initially just for that yarn, but I also checked to see if they had the stud and post. They didn't have them the last time that I was there, but they had them this time. So I made that, but those tentacles took so long to make. It was really easy, just took forever, and then it took forever to paint them because I had to get this like tiny, I don't even have it with me, but we have a tiny paintbrush because Wayne likes to paint miniatures. I don't do very much painting just because I don't like having to pick colors for things. But Wayne likes to paint miniatures for D&D. And so we have this one tiny little paintbrush. It looks like someone took like 10 fibers and put them together into a paintbrush. And so it's so tiny. And that's what I use to paint the little tentacle suction cups. Little metallic purple. Nightingale says cool earrings. Thank you. But took forever, so I'm not selling those for less than $20. Like most of my things, Wayne was really surprised when I said that too, because most of my things I flip flop and I'm wishy washy, and I'm like, well, I can sell this for $5, and he's like, no, you should sell it for 10. And I'm like, oh, I can sell this for 10. He's like, no, you should sell it for 15. I'm like, these earrings are $20. I will not take less than that because I spent hours making them. I'm not taking less than that. If you want them, you can buy them. So they're more of a showpiece. They're more of a big showpiece on the table right now, but hopefully someone will get them. We'll pick them up at Fantasy or at Mermaid Festival, and I'm gonna try to make some I fully acknowledge that those are very big earrings. So I'm gonna make some in a similar style. They're still gonna be the faux gauges, but I'm gonna make some in a similar style that are a bit smaller, so they're a bit more accessible for people that aren't as extra as me.
Exactly.
But let's
we are closing in on
and then
hour. Was there something else you wanted to tell us about?
I'm trying to think. Let's see. There were a lot of pictures in there, but some of those are really extra and we can talk about later. The only other thing was that I made a pair of I'm trying to think if I made anything else. I don't think I made anything else. No, because I've run out of craft supplies, which I just got some craft supplies. My friend Aubrey, who moved away, sad because she used to work at farmers market, but she moved away to Michigan. But she does wire work, and she used to do more of the jewelry style stuff like me. But she's moved towards making wire trees, like wire bonsai trees, which I want to do, but don't have the patience to do because it's just so much. But so she had a bunch of leftover supplies and some leftover pendants and stuff. And so she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna mail you some beads. What's your address?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's this, and let me like send you some money for it." And she's like, "Oh, this will be enough." And so I'm like, "Oh, it's not that bad for like a box of beads." Man, I almost cried when I opened this box. So she sent me, I've got it behind me. She sent me a like gajillion beads, like literally so many beads, plus leftover pendants that she didn't sell from back from when she was selling pendants.
Mm. So you,
Plus
so
she
you,
sent me a keep telling myself that I needed to buy.
thanks, Tracy,
Man,
for the Mother's Day greetings. So, okay, it looks like you're frozen
are you
again, Maya. Okay, you're back. Okay.
yes, okay, I'm back in. But I was like, I called her and she didn't answer, and so I left a message like nearly crying of like, thank you so much, I can't believe you did this, and like, so I'm trying to think of something to make for her, but we make really similar things because she does do wire work as well, and like, so anything that I wouldn't make her, she would be able to make herself. So I'm thinking that I might make her something with a dragon eye, because one of the other things that I've been making the last few days are these dragon eyes. Let me see. Okay, the camera is on me. So it is, oh, and you can't even really see the depth of it, but it's got a good
But
bit
yeah,
of shine
I
to
get the
it.
feeling for it. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll maybe send a picture or something later and we can show it better later. But it's so I make these dragon eyes that I take glass cabochons. So these are basically, you know, the things that people put in fish tanks, the glass
Yeah.
little things. So at Joann's they had some big ones, and they're not calibrated because you can buy calibrated ones that are meant for like jewelry stuff that are perfectly circular. They're all the same size. They're all the same shape. They're all, but I don't have money for that, so I bought the fish tank ones. Um, and you basically, I take nail polish. So to you, mommy, if you have any nail polish,
If I
because
have
no one
what?
paints their nails anymore, because that's what I use to paint those, and it's so much easier. But I'm trying to like build up my colors. And it's like I just went out and bought some dollar store nail polish the other day. But
Yeah,
I'm thinking I might make
that's
her
all
like a,
I have is dollar store nail polish.
well, that's all I need is I literally just stay gel, matte, 24/7 fancy, just need colors. But I'm thinking I might make her a dragon eye pendant because I made some of those for Fantasy Fest, and I think one or two of them sold, and they're not super hard. I make man, I am still just going all kinds of in and out right now. So I make the eye, and then I make a base underneath it. Um, but I can make a frame and everything with polymer clay. Ooh, this is driving me crazy. Hopefully, I can figure something out between now and other than crafting.
Well, we are at an hour and 5 minutes, so we
Um,
should probably wrap this up.
yeah, that's about it. I mean, anything else I can share and I can show in the next video. I just had like a lot of catching up to do from the festivals and stuff.
Exactly. So, do you have um any goals for next week?
Um, let's see. Goals for next week. Yeah. I need to wrap some D20 dice. I'm not going to write it down at the moment just because I don't have my notebook. It's all the way behind me and I don't feel like getting up and taking off the headset. But I can watch this back and remind myself of my goals. But my goals for this week are to make some D20 necklaces for my festival on Friday because it's going to be like a bunch of D&D nerds and stuff like me. So I think those would go really well. I want to make more dragon eye necklaces if I can, because I think those will go pretty well as well. And I don't know. That's all I got right now. I guess I've got a yeah. I guess I've just got a short to-do list this one, just two, because I can't think of anything else. Get ready for the festival,
Okay.
basically.
Well, my goals for this week are I want to put a dent in that sweater because I've as we said earlier, I'm aiming for having it done 3 videos from now. So
Mm-hmm.
so hopefully finish the hem on the casual surfer sweater. That's what I've got. Okay.
All right.
And
Oh, Nightingale says y'all have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you later, Nightingale.
bye, Nightingale. And I'm going to work on my um, so the casual surfer tee is one of my big five.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm gonna work on that AKA scarf because I found with the AKA scarf, if I leave it too long, then I start to forget how to do it. It took me like
Yeah.
30 minutes to
Oof.
remember how to do the stitch,
Mm-hmm.
different ends. So I don't want to leave it too long. And number three, I don't know about number three. I don't know if I want to um, either finish this scarf that I've already started
Mm-hmm.
or, yeah, I'll put that on there.
Yeah, I think finishing the scarf would probably just be the easiest one. That way you can knock it out of the way.
Knock it out of the way because I was thinking about getting the raised waffle back.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I think finishing that scarf because I want to have a sense of completion of something.
Yeah.
And get it. Oh no, I got to do the square number 10.
Oh yeah, because you hadn't started it.
Yeah, I got to do square number 10. So those are my three goals: get the hem of the casual surfer tee done, the AKA scarf, and square number 10. Um, I do not know if we will be back here next week because as we've talked about, don't give the pouty face. As I I see you giving
Weeks
the
and we're
pouty.
only back once.
What?
I said we skipped 2 whole weeks and now we're only back once.
Yeah, but next weekend is I have to go to Aunt Terry's once a month because I have to put in my face in person to work once a month. So I have to next
Mm-hmm.
weekend is the weekend that I have to go work. I work from home. For those of you who haven't watched before, I work from home, but once a month I have to go in person and pick up work. And so I do it on the weekend because the person I happen to work for is also my best friend. So I go and I work on Friday and then we hang out on Saturday. So I
Ooh,
usually spend the weekend over at her house.
make sure you take some pictures of stuff for other than stitching for the next week, I guess.
Well, I don't know that I'm going to do much of anything, although we're supposed to go on Friday to do some painting.
Fun.
And I'm supposed to, hopefully, the yarn bowl that I painted last month
Oh, we'll
has
be
already
done.
has already been fired. So we'll get to see whether the colors came out brightly or not.
Mm-hmm.
But so that's it. Thank you to anybody who made it all the way through this video. If you are watching this video live, then in about 10 minutes, we're going to come back and do what I call our off topic video, meaning we're talking about anything other than yarny, crafty goodness. That's why we call it other than stitching. Why are
Are
you
we frozen
frozen?
again? Before we finish, before we
Before we
finish,
what?
bug update 2019. So I
Oh, good
have,
Lord. Make it quick.
so I have the moth, and then did I tell everybody about the dragonfly? I have a big dragonfly. It's like
Yes.
the size of the palm of my hand. I have a
Yeah.
wasp. I have a wasp now. I caught him at work, and I caught him. I mean, somebody else caught him, and I put a lid on it. But we caught a wasp. And before I was like timid about putting things in the freezer because I'm like, oh, I feel uncomfortable killing things. Man, I slammed that wasp in the freezer so fast. You have no idea. They're just hateful creatures, and I don't care.
Well, hopefully we'll see you actually do something with all these bugs that you're collecting in your freezer. But
Hopefully. I just have to get that electroformer, man. Once I get the electroformer, it is done. You will be seeing copper things all over the place.
I don't know how you are my child. Anyway, as I said, that's it. If you're watching live, we're going to do another live stream in about 10 minutes talking about TV and reading and whatever else. If you're not watching live, then you'll probably see that video already sitting right next to this one. Anyway, have a good rest of your weekend, and we'll catch you next time. Bye.
Bye.